sure you're breathing. So at this point, we're going to bring in our Ujjayi breath. Make sure that you're breathing through the nose, our lips are quietly sealed, and our teeth and tongue are not pressing together or to the roof of our mouth. Now very carefully, find all 10 fingers sprawled out, find neutral. Can you roll the shoulders quietly away from the ears and then push the floor away to help lift the shoulders up away from the ground? Turning all 10 toes under and lifting the knees about 2 or 3 inches from the ground. We're going to rock back about 2 or 3 inches with our bum and then begin to tip the bum up to the sky. Eventually the legs may extend a lot or a little. You may have to adjust your footing just a little bit to find our first downward facing dog. Shake your head, pedal the feet, making sure that the hands are at least shoulder width apart, and we're revolving the backs of the arms, the triceps, toward the earth. On an inhale, we'll slowly glide forward to a plank, Adho Mukha Dandasana. Can you stack the heels on top of your toe ball mounts? Puff the shoulders up by pressing the hands into the ground. And grow the crown of your head and your heart space forward. Take another breath in, and as you exhale, lift your tailbone. Maybe bend the knees a little bit. Glide back to our Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Relax the feet to the earth. Sometimes this posture is just better for us if we bend the knees, and that's A-OK. Very carefully glide forward to your plank one more time, keeping the shoulders puffed up. Do what you can. Extend the tailbone to the heels and the heart space to the front edge of your mat. Next exhale, lifts the tail. Maybe you bend your knees a little bit. Pull yourself back to downward facing dog. Breathe. When you're ready, very carefully walk your feet forward to your hands, finding forward fold. Let's bend the knees a lot to feel a little compression of the belly against the thighs. And then we're going to take our hands and just let them land on the back of our head. We're not pulling. Our hands are just acting like a paperweight. So just let the head relax. Feel the elbows pull down to the earth with gravity. Breathe. And very slowly unravel. Your arms will reach down. You're going to unravel like we're zipping up the spine. Stacking one bone at a time. Take your time. There's no hurry. There is no hurry. Rolling the shoulders back. Eventually the head stacks on the top. And you find your heels and maybe kind of paddle your feet a little bit. So I'm paddling my toes, I'm paddling my toe ball mounts. That might feel really nice on the bottoms of your feet, especially if you've had to wear work shoes all day. Great. We're going to take our left foot, we're going to step to the back of our mat. Eventually we're going to revolve facing forward, turning the toes out. We're going to sit down into our horse saddle stance. Make sure that the tailbone is working down to the earth so our bum's not sticking out. And pull the low belly skin up to your belly button. Bring your arms up to the sky. Press the hands together if you can. Breathe in and lift your eyes and lift your heart. Bring the hands down so the thumbs touch the space between your eyebrows. Lift your heart space, maybe even lift the eyes a little. Find a little back bend, breathe. And as you exhale, slowly bring your hands down to the earth. I'm going to turn around so you guys can see me from the front. You guys don't have to turn around. Once our hands are on the ground, we're going to slowly turn the toes in and the heels out and extend the legs straight. So peek at each foot, and can you make sure that the toes are pointing toward each other and the heels are pointing away from each other? Then we're going to lift our body up from the arches of the feet. So make sure that the toe ball mounts and the little toe ball mounts and the big toe ball mounts and the heels are pressing down equally. And then we can wiggle our toes. You can't wiggle your toes, then adjust your body weight so you can wiggle your toes. Press the front of your thighs back into the thigh bones and lift your tailbone high. Beautiful. Very carefully turn the heels back in and rise up to our horse saddle stance. Very carefully bringing the arms up to the sky. Make sure the tailbone is tucked. The hands would potentially reach to the sky. Bring your hands back to your third eye. Lift your eyes and lift your heart to the sky. Now very carefully lift the arms back up to the ceiling. We're going to leave our right arm in the sky and bring the left arm all the way down to our left thigh. Can you reach the right arm up to the sky and possibly pull the right arm into the ear? Look up toward the sky past your right arm if possible. Breathe into your right ribs. Then very carefully float back up to the top. We move the other way. My left arm stays up. My right arm floats down to my right thigh. Reach your left arm up to the sky. Breathe into your left rib. Maybe for you, you'd like to bring your arm toward the ear. Look toward the sky. Come back up to the ceiling. Very carefully reach both arms up. Breathe in, bring your hands to your third eye. Then very slowly float down to the earth. Turn the toes in and the heels out. Once again, our wide-legged forward fold. Press down through all four corners of your feet. If you can't wiggle your toes, make sure you would shift your energy enough that you can. Walk both hands off to your right foot, giving yourself a little turn. Maybe we look past the right shoulder. Are you breathing? Very carefully come back to the center. Walk your hands off to the left foot. Move very slowly. Maybe we look past our left shoulder. Press the front of your thighs back into your thigh bones. Come back to the center. Turn the toes out. Come back up into your horse saddle stance very carefully. Find your path. Maybe we rise up through a hinge. Some of us might rise up through a round. Press the hands together over your head. Sit down a little lower if you can, as long as we don't lift our tailbone. We want our tailbone to reach to the earth. Draw your energy back into the heels. Beautiful. Hands find our third eye. We lift our eyes and lift our heart. Beautiful. Rise up, reach up. Bring your hands down to the ground. Turn the heels out just a little bit again. The heat's probably getting a little bit warm. Maybe we can turn the heat down just a little bit, Lisa. Extend the heart space forward. Beautiful. We're going to walk both hands off to the right foot and turn the left heel off of the floor. Turn the left heel off of the floor. Both my toes are pointing to the front of my mat. I'm going to switch my legs, so I'm facing the same direction as all of you. And then what I'm going to do is take my right hand to the inside of my left leg, and I'm going to take my left hand to my sacrum. You can always put a block underneath your right hand if the floor is too far away. We're going to revolve the left shoulder up to the sky, just for a moment. We're going to drop the left shoulder down. Now I'm going to take my left hand and gently, like a paperweight, just tuck my forehead into the chest. My right hand might come to the outside of my leg. Press my left thigh muscles into my thigh bones. Bring the left hand to the inside of your right foot. Then we're going to take our right hand to our sacrum. Can you revolve the right shoulder up towards the sky? Very carefully bring both hands to the ground and step your right foot back, dropping the knees. Take your right hand underneath your body, bringing the right shoulder toward the earth, and find a little thread the needle. We're just going to rest here for a moment. Make sure you're breathing. Breathe into your backside, breathe into your heart space. Very carefully bring your hands back to the ground. Roll the spine as you wish. Roll the spine as you wish. Rounding and releasing the spine. Any motion is good motion, so you decide what's best. Find the hands, press the hands, spread them like jazz hands. Press them into the ground, pushing the floor away so those shoulders will lift. Turn all 10 toes under, and then lift the knees about 2 or 3 inches. When you're ready, lift the tailbone, pull the hips back a little bit, and eventually our legs will extend. Adjust the feet as necessary. Make sure you're breathing. Wiggle around if you need to. Maybe it's better to keep the knees bent. That's okay. Then very carefully, we're going to walk both feet forward to our hands. Both feet forward to our hands. Bend your knees a lot and let your belly compress against your thighs. Then take your hands and let them rest on the back of your head.
We're not pulling. We're just creating a little bit of relief for the neck and the upper back. Make sure you're breathing. Let the arms relax down and very slowly unravel your body. Very slowly. The shoulders are last. And then finally we can stack our head on top. Maybe lift your feet. You can paddle your feet a little bit. Some of us might feel good just rolling the heels up and lifting the toes up. You can do one at a time. But play around with your feet. Give them a little massage. Good. Excellent. And we're going to go ahead. We're going to step the left foot back again. And pivot to face the front of the room, the mirrors. So the heels are turned out wide. I'm going to flip around so you can look at me. And we're going to find our horse saddle stance again. So the T's are turned, the toes, our toes are now called T's, are turned out. Arms are going to reach up to the sky. Press your hands together. Lift the eyes, lift the heart space. Possibly bringing the thumbs to touch the space between your eyebrows. Can you lift yourself higher here? On an exhale, slowly float the hands down to the ground. And once your hands find the floor or a block, can you turn the heels out wider? Toes would point toward each other, so peek with the toes, peek with the heels. If you can't wiggle your toes, your body weight's too far forward. We want our hips to stack on top of our ankles. Press the thigh muscles into the thigh bones. Let the head relax very carefully. We might round the spine here if that feels good for us. Play around. What feels good to you? Good. Very carefully turn our toes back out, finding our horse saddle stance, finding your way back up, reaching up for the sky. Breathe. Can you press the hands together? Then breathe out, bringing your thumbs to your third eye. Lift your heart space, lift your eyes. Beautiful. Very carefully float all the way back down to the ground. Turn the heels out, straightening the legs, turn the toes in, pressing all four corners of your feet to the ground. Press the thigh muscles back into the thigh bones and lift your tailbone. Allow the forehead to float toward the earth. For some of us, it might feel better to let the crown of the head float to the earth. Make sure you're breathing. When you're ready, walk your hands toward your left foot. Very slowly. Maybe we look past the left shoulder. Very slowly walk your hands off to the right foot. Move very carefully, very slowly. You possibly gaze past your right shoulder. Come back to the center. Turn the toes out. Find your way back into your horse saddle stance. Take your time, breathing in as you lift. Make sure the tailbone is tucking to the earth. So we feel the low belly skin lifting up into the navel. Lift your eyes, lift your heart space. Bring the hands to your third eye. Lift your eyes, lift your heart up a little higher. Beautiful. Bring the arms back up to the sky. Reach up with your right arm. The left arm floats down to your thigh. We lift up and reach up. Breathe into your right ribs. Maybe we find a little prana mudra here. Does that feel good to you? Very slowly float back up to the center. Reach up to the sky. The left arm stays up. The right arm floats to our thigh. Reach the left arm up to the sky. Open your heart space. Gaze up. Very carefully come back to the center. Breathe in and lift your heart space. As you exhale, float both hands down to the ground. Turn your heels out, your toes in. Extend the legs long. Press the thigh muscles into the thigh bone, the femur, and lift the patella, the kneecap, up away from the knee using your muscles. Wonderful. Now very carefully, walk your hands to your left foot. Walk your hands to your left foot. So we're going to end up facing the curtains. The right heel will lift off the ground. Switch legs here. So right now we're going to take our left hand to the inside of our left foot. Our right hand is going to find its way to our sacrum. Just gently lift the right shoulder up away from the floor, then drop it back down again. The right hand will find its way to the floor. The left hand to our sacrum. Gently lift the left shoulder up. Look up to the sky. And very carefully, bring your left hand back down to the ground and use your right hand to just gently bring your forehead down to the earth. crown of your head. So my right hand acts like a little paperweight. Maybe it's better for you to use your left hand. What gives you more balance? But make sure we lift that right heel up, stack it over your toenail mounds, and squeeze the thigh muscles into the thigh bone so we have balance. Can you wiggle your left toes? Very carefully bring both hands to the floor and gently step back, drop the knees down to the ground, and place your left arm underneath your body, bringing the shoulders to the ground, thread the needle. Some of you may like to walk that right hand forward and press your pyramid hand into the ground to create more space in your right ribs. Make sure you're breathing. Very slowly, bring both hands back underneath your shoulders, and once again, we'll roll through any spinal undulation. Rolling of the spine. What works for you? What feels good? Excellent. We'll very carefully come back into hero's pose. So everyone's looking at the curtain. We're kneeling, and we're sitting down on our heels. If that's too much for you, you can sit in Sukhasana. That means with your legs crisscrossed in front of you. Or you can put a block under your bum. We're just going to close our eyes, find our prana mudra. So extend the first two fingers, bring the tips of your thumb and your pinky and second ring finger to very gently touch. And just relax here for a moment. We'll blink our eyes open, and we're going to bring our hands to the floor right in front of our knees. We're going to end up being very soft through the elbows. What I want you to do is bring the crown of your head to the floor very lightly and just start to roll your head against the ground. So we're just trying to calm down our little crown chakra here. It might feel really nice, especially if you have headache issues. We're just going to roll the head without putting a lot of weight in our head. Very little, if any at all. Just lightly rolling the brain. Okay? Good. We'll come back up to our tabletop here. If you have any spinal undulation, if that feels really good to you, go ahead and find that work. A little rolling of the spine. We're going to find our way back into downward facing dog. So eventually we're going to turn those toes under. Lift your knees about 2 or 3 inches from the ground, and then very slowly find your way up into downward facing dog. Breathe. Excellent. We're going to extend the right leg back to three-legged dog. Right leg back. Now, if you aren't really sure if you're straight, peek at your body in the mirror on the front of the room. You can see how long your leg is. If your leg is lower than your spine, if it's not in a nice angle, then lift the leg up by powering through the heel like a solar panel, squeezing the leg muscles into the leg bones. Very carefully on an exhale, tuck your right knee to the back of your right arm. Do what you can, but try to get that knee as close as possible. Hollow out the belly. Extend it back for three-legged dog. Breathe. Very carefully rotate the knee forward again. Bring it to your arm. Bring it back to three-legged dog. That's an inhale. Make sure you're breathing. Now step the right foot to the right thumb. Drop the back knee down to the ground. Leave the left hand on the ground. Maybe we use a block. The right arm's going to reach back and find your sacrum. Revolve the right shoulder up to the sky and look up to the ceiling. Make sure we're lifting up out of the left shoulder. Press through all 4 corners of your left hand, and also make sure you can lightly touch the floor with all your fingertips. Maybe you decide to bring the right hand to the sky. This is okay. Press the back foot into the ground, whether it's your laces or your toes. Press it into the ground. Roll the wrists, roll the fingers. Breathe. Very carefully bring both hands down to the ground. Step your right foot back to meet your left, and eventually find downward facing dog. Left foot will extend back to three-legged dog. Again, is your foot a straight line of energy from the crown of the head to the heel, and the heel to the crown of the head? If you're not sure, you can look at yourself in the side mirror. Very slowly on exhale, tuck your left knee to the back of your left arm. Hollow out your belly. Inhale, extend back to three-legged dog. Again, tuck your left knee to the back of your arm. Inhale back to three-legged dog. Step the left foot to the left thumb. Drop the back knee. Leave your right hand on the floor or a block. The left hand will find your sacrum. And you revolve the left shoulder up toward the sky. Trying your best to keep the hips level. With your hand on your sacrum, it helps us make sure that our hips stay level. We want the rotation to come from the belly line up. So we're turning from the thoracic spine, the upper spine. Maybe you feel comfortable lifting your left arm to the sky. Make sure the back foot, the right foot, is pressing into the earth. Breathe and lift your heart space not only forward, but also up to the sky. Maybe we roll our wrists or our fingers. Make sure you're breathing. Very carefully bring both hands to the ground. Lift the back knee from the floor. Walk your left foot back to meet the right and find downward facing dog. Very slowly bring both feet forward to your hands. Forward fold. Good. Let your head shake. Let your arms sweep. So your arm sweeping kind of reminds us of the deity Ganesha. He's the elephant deity. He is the remover of obstacles. He's awesome because we have these weird obstacles in front of us right now, right? They kind of stress us out. So can we use Ganesha as a little deity, as a little person, elephant we can look up to say, hey, whatever you believe or not believe, it's just kind of fun. Pretend like we're elephants. Then we're slowly going to unravel our spine, stacking one bone at a time. So start at the tail. Can you feel every little bone? Finding a lot of space in between all those bones so those cushions find joy. We reach the arms up to the sky, possibly wiggling our fingers here. Let's find our prana mudra, bringing the tips of the thumb and pinky and second ring finger to touch and extend the two pointer fingers, our peace sign fingers. Wiggle your toes. You lift yourself up away from the ground from the arches of our feet. Revolve the inner thighs to the back of your mat. Tuck your tailbone down to the earth. Lift your heart space and your eyes up to the sky. Now very carefully step the right foot to the back of your mat. Warrior one, right heel will drop down to the ground. We're still lifting our heart space up. Very empowering posture. This is a warrior. This is a soldier. Lift yourself up. Very carefully float open into warrior two. So we're facing the front of the room now. My right heel, my right big toe mount and pinky toe mount, they are my power source. So you have a power cord and those little prongs on the bottom of your foot, heel and toe mounts. Plug them in, then squeeze the thigh muscles into your thigh bone. The more you bend to the left knee, the deeper the posture will become. Tuck the tailbone down to the earth, pull the front ribs back. Reach through your fingertips. Reach through your fingertips. Squeeze from the front of your shoulder into your thumb and the back of your shoulder into your pinky. Revolved warrior brings right hand to belt behind your back. Breathe into your left rib. Lift your heart space up to the sky. Very carefully bring your left forearm down to the left thigh. We'll either bring our right hand to our sacrum or we'll bring our right hand to the sky. What's better for you? You've already done this once today, yeah? Bring your right hand to your sacrum or to the sky and pull your right ribs back. Can you extend your heart space to the front edge of your mat and roll the ribs, the right ribs, up to the sky? Now very carefully cartwheel both arms up to the sky and turn both toes forward. Slowly bring your hands together, then draw them all the way down your body, pulling all this beautiful energy into our body, and take your forward fold again. I'm going to run into the mirror. Pull myself back. So we have the heels turn out and the toes turn in again. Press the thigh muscles into the thigh bones. Anytime we go upside down, we're battling anxiety. We're battling stress. We're also boosting our immune system and helping to heal our endocrine system, our hormones, which can go haywire in stress. Keep the hands on the ground or a block. Let your heart space extend away from the hips. Press the thigh muscles into the thigh bones and lift your tail to the sky. Beautiful.
Rise up into your horse saddle pose. We've been here also today. Maybe we round, maybe we hinge. What's better for you? Reach the arms up to the sky. Beautiful. Breathe in. Lift yourself tall, unravel your knees. Cartwheel yourself all the way down to the floor on the right edge of your mat and step back. You can drop your knees and find a child's pose or a downward facing dog. What's better for you? Make sure you're breathing. So I'm in Uttita Balasana, which means extended child's pose. If it helps you to find more breath in your lungs, you can extend the arms and then press pyramid fingers into the floor. That will help expose more of your lung space so we can take more Erin, which is very healing for our immune system and also for de-stressing. Make sure you're breathing. Whether you're in child's pose or downward facing dog, we're all going to find our way into downward facing dog. So find your own personal path to get there. We're trying to lift the tail, relax the feet, and keep the body long through the spine. Beautiful. We're going to extend the left leg up to the sky. Extend that left long, strong leg. Push through the heel. Reach through the heel. On an exhale, tuck the left knee to the back of the left arm. Puff up the shoulders. Inhale, reach it back. Three-legged dog. Again, exhale, tuck the left knee to the left arm. Inhale back to three-legged dog. This time we're going to step the left foot to the left thumb. Drop the back knee down to the ground. Okay. Very carefully, take your right hand to the floor, the left hand to the sacrum, and pull your left shoulder back. Look up to the sky. Beautiful. Very slowly bring your left hand to the ground. The left hand will come to the floor on the inside of your left foot. The right hand will find your sacrum. Pull the right shoulder up to the sky. And very carefully release it. Very slowly lift the back knee. Step the left foot back. Find your downward facing dog. Make sure you're breathing. Ujjayi breath. Right leg powers back, three-legged dog. On an exhale, tuck the right knee into the back of your right arm. Inhale, extend you back through your solar panel foot, three-legged dog. Exhale, tuck your right knee to the back of your right arm. Puff up your shoulders, puff up your belly. Reach it back, three-legged dog. Right foot steps to the right thumb. Hollowing out your belly will help you step your foot without it getting stuck on your mat. Drop your back knee. Leave the left hand on the mat, bring the right hand to your sacrum, and revolve the right shoulder up to the sky. Look up if you can. Bring your right hand down, place it on the inside of your right foot, Left hand finds your sacrum just for a moment, lift up and open, pull your chest forward, bring your hand back down to the ground. Lift your back knee and step back to your downward facing dog. Very carefully, bring both feet forward to your hands when you're ready. Find your forward fold. Let your head relax. Maybe if you liked it before to bend your knees, maybe that felt really good. Your choice. You can also take your little Ganesha sweeps here. Remover of obstacles. My shirt is an obstacle today. Breathe. Great. Very slowly unravel. Very slowly. I mean, if you think you're going slow, slow down again. Okay? We can paddle the toes here. If that felt good to you in the beginning, there's always time to add a little paddle and wiggle room. So find a little paddle and wiggle room. Great. Okay. We're going to reach up to the sky. Whoop. Breathe in. We're going to take the left foot back. Step the left foot all the way back. I think I'm backwards. So, no, that's right. We're going to drop the left heel down to the ground. We find our warrior one. Breathe in. Maybe we find our prana mudra here. Lift your heart space up to the sky. Beautiful. We'll carefully open into our warrior two. You might have to adjust your left foot a little. I tend to stand longer in warrior two than warrior one, so I always like to wiggle my foot back. Check in with the left foot. Make sure the left heel is your power cord. Plug it in. The toes are turned slightly forward.
Also with your right knee, make sure the right knee isn't falling into the big toe. We want to make sure that it's pointing directly over our middle toes. And squeeze through the fingers. Beautiful. Breathe. Look to the right hand. Maybe we take our little prana mudra here. Either way, reach from the front of your shoulder to the thumb, the back of your shoulder to the pinky side of your hand. Now, the more you walk the right foot forward and drop yourself into the right thigh, the deeper you'll find in your posture. But make sure the tailbone doesn't start to shift back. Keep the tailbone reaching to the earth and the front ribs drawn back into the spine. Good. Very carefully, bring your right forearm to your right thigh, and the left arm is going to sweep up to the sky. Maybe it's better for you to keep your left hand on your sacrum here. This is okay. Draw the left shoulder up to the sky and back. Pull the heart space toward the right toes. Lift your eyes to the sky. Breathe. Press down through your left foot. The heel and the toe ball mounts. Remember, you have a three-pronged power cord on your foot. Find your revolved warrior. Wrap your left arm around your back. Right arm reaches up to the sky. Breathe. Wonderful. We're going to slowly unravel, turning our toes toward the front of the room. Lift the arms up to the sky. Very slowly bring your hands in front of your face, find your forward fold. The hands float down your body, reaching down for the earth. And I'm too close to the mirror. Heels turn out, toes turn in. Make sure you're breathing. Lift the tailbone. You have a cranky back. What a nice posture to release. But you have to really think about hiking the tailbone up to the sky and pressing the thigh bones back into the thigh muscles back into the thigh bones. Really turn those heels out and those toes in. Breathe. Breathe into your heart space. Maybe you can bring your forehead down to the floor. Your choice. Squeeze the leg muscles into the leg bones. Turn the heels out. Turn the heels in and the toes out. We're going to rise up one last time into saddle pose. Or saddle pose. You find your way up. Reach up to the sky. Press the hands together. Bring the hands to your third eye. One last time here. Breathe in and lift. And as you exhale, unravel. Cartwheel both hands down to the right side of your mat. And step back. Maybe you find a child's pose. Maybe a downward facing dog. What's better for you? You decide to take a child's pose. Let's try to keep space like a downward facing dog would offer here in our side body to release the lungs. Possibly extending the arms forward, Utthita Balasana, and then finding pyramid hands. So I'm just pressing all 5 of my fingers into the ground like I'm trying to pick up a snowball. My forehead would potentially touch the earth. Make sure you're breathing. Now very carefully find your hands and knees. Soften the elbows, and once again, we're going to bring the top of the head to the earth and just offer a little bit of rolling in the head. Okay? Try not to put too much pressure in your head. Make sure that the movement is supported by your arms. Okay? Awesome. And then we'll very carefully rise up into our hero's pose, or maybe into our Sukhasana. So Virasana or Sukhasana. We might potentially find our prana mudra, hand yoga. So that means the tips of our pinky and second ring finger are lightly pressing together to our thumb, and then our peace sign fingers are extended. Close your eyes and feel. Possibly touching base with a little intention for community self-care here. Often we think of intentions as being something to help us personally, but I think sometimes we forget that not all of us need self-care. Sometimes we need community care. Intentions are simple. They would be very small statements that we could write on a small little sticky note. So find your little sticky note, whatever fun color you want to put it on, and then write your intention. It could be as simple as, I am empowered, or maybe it could be, we are empowered, whatever your intention is. Take a couple
couple more gentle, soft breaths here, softening your body, feeling good about what you're doing today. And when you're ready, we'll blink our eyes open. We'll slowly bring our hands to the ground. And once again, we're going to go upside down into downward facing dog. So turn your toes under. And remember that we don't just have to shoot straight up like a rocket. We can lift the knees. Maybe we rock our tushy back toward our heels. And then from there, we slowly just lift the tailbone up. And maybe we stop here. Maybe this is your downward facing dog. If that feels really good to you, great. But try to keep the shoulders broad and find what works best for you. Some days, my legs are just so dead tight, there's just no way on earth I can extend them any amount. And that's okay. Our bodies are different every day. But try to melt your chest back toward the toes so we're not hanging out here in downward facing dog. We're hanging out with this beautiful, vibrant lift of the base of our spine. And we're lifting ourselves up to the sky, opening our heart space. Beautiful. Walk your feet forward to your hands. Bend your knees a lot. Maybe it doesn't feel good to bend the knees, but if you can, go ahead and do it. Maybe you sweep your little elephant trunks. Or for some of us, we like to wrap our arms around our legs and give ourselves a big hug. Pull your head down just naturally into your shins or knees. Remember, we've also played around with the option of just paperweighting our head with our hands. Don't pull, just paperweight. Let your arms hang like big floppy dog ears. Slowly stacking the spine, one bone at a time. Rise up slowly. We're not in a hurry. If you think you're moving slow, slow down again. Turning the inner thighs toward the back of your mat, rolling the shoulders back, lifting your heart space, and then stacking the head. Let's take the left foot behind the right. Bring the arms up to the sky. Breathe in. Can you possibly press your hands together? Lift your eyes, lift your heart. Now just kind of play around with this little funky half moon, Ardha Chandrasana. Just going to sweep our body around in any which way that feels good to us. Just play around with it. A little wiggle room can always help us find more space. Eventually come back to the center, find your neutral. We're going to shift the hands off to the right edge of our mat. Can you draw the left hip to the left edge of your mat? Look up toward the sky, keeping the shoulders side by side. So if the tendency for you is to bring the left shoulder down, maybe just try to draw that left shoulder back a little. If it's too much to extend the arms over your head, we can easily drape the arms over our head here. This is perfectly acceptable, and it might even feel better to you. Very carefully unravel the arms first, and then the leg reach down for the ground. Take your time. Sometimes we gotta walk our hands down our legs. Bend your knees if you can. Maybe we sweep. Maybe we shake our head yes or no. Breathe. We'll slowly unravel again. Stacking the back, one bone at a time. We want to feel the stack. So really slow down. One bone, two bone, three bone. We're going in reverse order. It would be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then our neck, right? We've got everything going on. We're very carefully, maybe we rock our toes, play around with your body. Right foot comes behind the left. When you're ready, bring the arms up to the sky, possibly pressing the hands together. A reminder that we can just drape our arms over our head if that's better for us. Lift the heart space, draw the navel skin, the low below the belly button, pull it up into your belly button and your belly button up into your heart. Play around with motion. Little balance practice for you too, right? What motion feels good to you? It's your body. Your body knows what it needs or doesn't need. Listen to it. Good. When you're ready, we'll slowly neutralize and then shift off to the left. So we have this little Ardha Chandrasana, this little half moon. Now we're trying to reach the elbows up or hands up, but try to avoid letting the right shoulder collapse forward. When you keep the right shoulder pulled back, lift your eyes, lift your heart. Draw the fingertips to the left. Draw your right hip to the right.
So we're pulling ourselves apart from the fingers into the right hip like we're on a taffy pulling machine. Breathe. Very carefully rise up. Unravel the legs, and one last time, we're going to fold down to the ground. Let your body relax. Now, you have two choices here. You can either find yourself lowering to a little toe balance and roll your bum to the ground and then sit down on the ground, or if you have another path to get there, that's okay too. But find Sukhasana. We're going to roll our hands forward as much as we feel comfortable. Now, some of us may decide to stay up yonder, totally cool, but we can walk our hands forward without force. What I'd like you to do is try to kind of prowl yourself forward so we can pull the chest with us. Rather than just collapsing into a movement, because I can, that doesn't mean we should. Rather than just collapsing, can you extend your body? Extend your body. Like we're crawling through this tall, beautiful grass. Avoid the hips lifting. Can you keep them down and pull the shoulders away from the ears? Some of us may decide to bring the forehead to the ground. And if you don't have a block or a pillow, stack your hands, fists, like this, and bring your forehead to your hands. That's fine if the floor is too far away. What works for you? But avoid the sits bones lifting off the floor. Make sure you're breathing. Very carefully unravel. We're going to shift back just enough so we can switch which leg is in the front. Crisscross again. Lift yourself tall, and when you're ready, begin to shift forward. Any amount. You might notice it's totally different on this side, right? You might have one hip that's a little tighter than the other. We tend to hold a lot of negative stress in our hips and our lungs. So we want to make sure we take care of them. Try not to shrug the shoulders. We'll very carefully unravel. And I'm going to turn and face you. If you want to turn and face me, you certainly can. So one more time, we're going to paperweight the back of our head. So we're going to take our hands. We're not going to pull. We're not going to pull. We're just going to let our chin drop back into our throat. And then any amount our head wants to gaze down, we'll let it. We're not going to pull. This is not a lever. This is a paperweight. And if that's too much for you, leave the hands out of it and just draw the chin back into the chest. That's fine. Okay? We're just going to rest here. Great. You feel potentially some movement through the upper back, the shoulders, and the neck. Maybe even the back of your head. And we're very carefully going to release our hands and stack the head on top. Can you take the hands together all the way to the webbing of your hands? And we're going to bring the knuckles into the bottom of the chin, and then possibly, you can hear my voice change, I'm going to bring my thumbs or the other knuckles of my hand back into my throat. And we're just going to rest here for a moment. Some of us may be comfortable, sound like I want helium. Some of us may be comfortable just lightly pressing the hands up into the throat. I mean, it's really tiny, it's like microscopic press. And lifting the eyes. We're just stretching the front of our spine, the front of our cervical spine here. Beautiful. Keep breathing. We'll relax the arms down. We're going to bring our right hand to the mat on the side of our body, and our left hand will potentially reach up to the sky. Reach up through the fingers. Maybe we find our prana mudra here. Reach up from the front of the shoulder to your thumb, the back of your shoulder to your pinky. Make sure the right hand is not collapsing into the shoulder. We're lifting out of the shoulder. Some of us may feel comfortable bringing our right forearm to the ground as long as we don't peel that left hip off the ground. You do what's best for you. You can slide that hand as far away as you like as long as you keep the left hip on the ground. Very carefully unravel. Your left hand finds the floor. Your right arm would reach up to the sky. Prana mudra, or just super vibrant jazz hands. Walking the left hand away from you, being cautious not to let the right hip lift off the ground. You can certainly bring your forearm to the floor if that feels good to you. Avoid
avoid shrugging the shoulder, gazing up. Breathe. Very carefully unravel. Okay. Any rotation or wiggle that you'd like to find is good. So you can find a little twist if you need a twist, or maybe we just need to take a little cat-cow. I encourage you to wiggle. Your body knows what it needs here. So anything goes. It's your body. Excellent. We're going to take one last little movement here. It's super tiny. So everybody find their back. And you are going to end up rolling off your mat a little bit. Okay? So a little compression here. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to roll to my right first because otherwise I'm going to hit the mirror. You can roll right and left. I'd encourage you to try both. We're going to compress, just like we did kind of in the beginning. We're going to roll off to one side and then open to the floor. And here, if you want to take a little shalabhasana, a little locust, you can, but I encourage you to be more floppy. And we'll roll to our back, really floppy-like, and then compress. Ready? We'll do about 2 in each direction is what I'd like to encourage. So we roll and we flop. Maybe if you don't want to flop, that's okay. Find a nice vibrant locust. And then we sort of flop back to our back, okay? And compress. Then we'll go the other way. You might be going alternating, if that's okay. We flop. Oops, there's the wall. And then flop myself. Really floppy, like a fish out of water. And compress. So my guess is you probably have one more. So go ahead and roll. This is a very basic roll. This is a variation of somatics that helps our body reset. We come back to our little compression. Compress for 1 or 2 big breaths here. And then on an exhale, relax open into your Shavasana. And here we are in Shavasana. Okay. So allow yourself to do nothing. We get to do nothing. We are always doing. So we definitely want to take time to settle and feel our rest. Shavasana is a way for us to rehabilitate, whether it's from our current practice, this session. Maybe the Shavasana is helping us to rehabilitate from the day, the week, the year. Remembering that the earth is your hammock. So allow your